Oh, hell yeah. Look at that. This label maker might be my favorite thing that I've gotten in a while. And it was like $9. And I hate label makers. I think they look so ugly. These are like the old school embossed ones. I don't know why I find this so amusing. So the biggest mistake I've ever made in my freelance filmmaker career is probably not buying this label maker sooner. This is so dope. Take that, stick that on there. Oh yeah. And Fiverr's in the house sponsoring today's video. So we will be doing a giveaway with this DJI Osmo Action with a custom made label. Look how sexy that looks. All you got to do is be part of the notification squad, leave a comment down below, and we will pick out a random winner within the first 12 hours of this video going live. Good luck. Now, one of the first mistakes that I had to learn was probably to not make negotiating weird. I think at first charging any money at all was just really weird to me because in my head I was like, well, I already own a camera. I could just go out and get this shot that you're asking for. How about you just give me $5 for gas and we'll call it a day. But the day you decide to call yourself a professional filmmaker, photographer, writer, anything freelance, you're assigning a value to your time. And once you generally figure out your value and your rates, then it's just a matter of trying to find the right clients for you. The way I used to see it was like, oh, I'm gonna go to these people and ask them a certain amount of money for this process and hopefully they say yes. But now that I've been on the other side of the table, because we hire a lot of freelancers and outside contractors, and that really demystified the process for me, because now when I go into a negotiation, I kind of know like, okay, this is what our budget looks like and this is how much we can reasonably spend on this service. And it's really just trying to find that perfect match. I mean, when you're hiring or getting hired, it should really be beneficial for both parties equally. And if you feel like you're bidding on a project that's way over your head, or you feel like you're totally slashing all your rates down to just nab a project, it might not be the best fit. Like, we built our company up over the last 10 years, so naturally as we get more experience, our rates go up. And we know that even though we're not necessarily cheap, we can provide value to the right client to where it makes sense for both of us. So with all that being said, now the whole negotiation process is much less intimidating to us, because instead of us going like, hey, how much money can you give me? It's more about like, here's the services we provide, here's how much we cost. Are we a good fit? Yeah, no. Another big mistake that I used to make a lot, and I still kind of do, is just trying to do too much all by yourself. From the very start, I've always been a do everything myself type of person, and sometimes it's kind of hard to let go of a little bit of that creative control, but to scale a company, you just kind of have to do it. So definitely not being afraid to reach out for extra help, especially if it's in a field that you're not fully comfortable with, like let's say like a logo design. There's gonna be someone out there that can deliver a better product than me and do it much faster as well. So times like that is when Fiverr comes into play. And I just spent a little bit of time on their website, and oh my God, there are so many great resources to help you get your projects done and building your brand. For example, a lot of our clients ask for a voiceover track, and that was always kind of a headache because we have to go out and look for them, and the process was just never very streamlined. But I went on Fiverr, and literally within 5 to 10 minutes, I had an order placed for a voiceover read. You guys want to hear it? Here it is.
A wild potato jet can be found. He films himself with a camera because he thinks he actually matters. Nobody quite knows how he managed to trick Carrie into falling in love with him. She's way too smart to be dating a YouTuber. In 8th grade, Potato Jet tried to fart, but accidentally pooped his pants.
Whoa, okay, stop, that's enough. It's not true. Okay, maybe a little bit true. How freaking sweet was that voiceover, and sounded so pro and legit too, right? And you can find so much more on Fiverr to help you build your freelance business or support your projects like logo design, web design, video intro animations, and even Photoshop or special effects editing. And the prices were really good too. So as I was browsing the website, I was like, oh my God, I could use this service, I could hire this person, I could get that and that. And on top of that, you can use the code PotatoJet to get 15% off the already very reasonable prices. So hit that link in the description, which will take you to a custom page Fiverr whipped together for me. It has a collection of my Fiverr favorites. And I bet you by the time you're done checking it out, you're gonna be thinking of all the possibilities and think you can achieve with access to all this talent. If you think about it, a lot of times you having access to talent is just as important to having talent itself. So thanks again, Fiverr, for sponsoring this video and making this video possible. Next mistake I've made is not enough planning for a shoot. And I've always been more on the type of just like, hey, let's just hit the record button and see what we get and we'll edit it later. But sometimes I'll get so preoccupied with making sure all the logistics are good, everyone has the costumes they need, we have all the talent, we have enough lights, we have enough tripods. And then when you get to the set, you're like, oh wait, what shots exactly do I need? The first time we ever used the storyboard is when our client required it. They basically said, we won't give you the budget until you deliver a storyboard. And I was like, man, I don't need storyboards. I just wing it. But we eventually got a storyboard artist to jot it all down, and we had everything visually laid out in front of us. And that shoot was the smoothest shoot that I have ever done in my life. And the reason is because there's basically no guesswork. You know exactly at what point you need to get one shot. What I used to do was run the whole scene through a bunch of times from every different little angle and kind of build it together in post-production. But when you have a storyboard, you know exactly when you're gonna be on what shot. So you can laser focus on that one segment that you really need. And that also makes editing a breeze too. And then in the end, you just have this very well executed scene. So the act of planning things out and creating the storyboard, not just to actually get it on paper, but as you're creating the storyboard, you really deep dive, think into like, this is the shot I want here, this is the shot I want here. So since then, I've appreciated storyboarding a lot more than I used to. And by the way, plenty of storyboard artists on Fiverr. One of the really big mistakes I've had was doing too much on a handshake deal. Now, for the first half of my career, I did everything on a handshake deal, and I made it a point to work with only people that I trust, and it worked great, at least until it didn't. And it was a project with a friend that we trusted. And the thing is, I've just never been a contract guy, you know? I've always been like, I trust you, you trust me, we're good, yeah? And that was the deal for this major project that we did, and we got half up front and everything. But what happened was that company was just kind of struggling financially with their cash flow, and they just kind of put us at the very tail end of their priorities, probably because we didn't have a legit contract. And even though the people we were working with are people that we consider ourselves to be close and tight with, they were in the same boat. They were knocking on finance's door every day like, hey, can we get these guys paid? It took us over a year to get paid. Over a year. And it was a lot of money too. I mean, just from travel expenses alone that I was supposed to get reimbursed for, I just put it all on my card. It was like $20,000 of just like airfares and hotels and all this. Oh God. So lesson learned, no matter who it is, no matter how close you are to, just get a contract. Just be safe. And by the way, you can get legal contracts written up on Fiverr. Okay, this part is not part of the sponsorship. Technically, I already finished the Fiverr sponsorship read earlier, so I don't even need to talk about them anymore. Now, the final thing, which is what I consider to be the most important thing, is what separates you from another guy with a camera. What separates your company from the other company that does the same type of thing as you do, but is willing to compete on price. When you start competing on price, it's just kind of who can get to the bottom the fastest, and that's just not a game you want to be in. Is it about what camera you're shooting on? Is it if you're shooting 4K and 6K? Is it how good your editing is and all this? And I think from my experiences, the hands down most important thing that you offer is trust. Big companies with lots and lots of money, they always go straight for the people that they trust, and they repeat with them over and over and over because they're trustable. So if your company's the type that's like, hey, I'll get this edit to you by Wednesday, and then Friday comes around and they're like, so about that edit, and you're like, oh, so sorry, I got sidetracked with something. Or, you know, if you come up with excuses over and over, and sometimes you deliver good work, but sometimes your work is a little bit funky and needs some tweaking, it slowly damages your reputation. For example, the editor of Vogue magazine needs a cover shot. They're gonna call one of the people that they've worked with before and they really trust, or has the proper amount of experience and the expertise to execute it perfectly, and then the editor doesn't even have to worry. They're just like, it's done. If I were to walk in there and be like, hey, let me take this month's cover and I'll do it for a fifth of the price that guy is charging, and I know exactly what camera he's using, lenses, I know where to put the lights, I know how to do everything, just let me do it. Then they're gonna be like, okay, well, what have you done? Have you shot cover shots before in fashion? Do you know what the fuck you're doing? Get the fuck out of here. Again, this is not every single company, but in my experiences, the bigger the companies, the less risk they want to take. So you have to give them that trust by first having a lot of confidence in your work. And you also need to have a lot of the experience and the skills to back up your confidence. So once you get to a certain level to where you're confident with your skills, don't be afraid to talk the talk. Sometimes people have a lot of skills, but they just don't have that presence, that confident, like I can do this vibe. And from the client's perspective, sure, you might have the skill, but it just kind of puts them on edge a little bit. It starts making them wonder like, ooh, should I have hired this person? I don't know. So whenever I'm working with a client, I'm always asking myself, like, do they trust me and how can I improve on that? Because they're hiring me so they don't have to worry about it anymore. I want to make sure that I handle what they're expecting, but not only do I handle it, but make sure that they are at ease, because that's what they really ultimately want. And I feel like that's where a lot of experience really comes into play, because the more you do it, the more you can start to read what people want. And when I was starting out, I would get a whole bunch of revisions. I would send in an edit. I'd be like, this is pretty cool. And they would send back a bunch of notes. Can you change this? Can you change this? Can you change this? Like, you don't want them to have to give you those notes. But now with a lot more experience, I can look back on my old stuff and be like, oh man, the composition in that shot was weird. That shot's a little bit soft. The edit's not tight there, And at the time, I couldn't identify it. If you were to show me that same video back then and tell me, hey, what's wrong with it? I'd been like, I don't know. It seems pretty good to me. But now I can identify these like little issues. So now whenever I deliver a video, my goal is always to get it so good to the point that they just take it and they go, this is perfect. How soon can we upload this? And if you could get it to the point where the client basically never has notes for you, they're going to keep coming back and they're going to love you forever. And then you could boost your rates and they'll be like, you're worth it because you always get it done right. Anyways, let's wrap this up by reading a few comments from my last video, which was about a tiny little FPV drone that you can fly around. And Robert McIntosh, the legend himself, chopped up a GoPro, stuck it on the top of the camera, flew it around tight spaces and schooled us all in drone flying. So let's see what you guys had to say. The top comment was from Johnny. Mr. Pilot at the beginning looks like he is going to be the main actor of Ready Player One 2. Yeah, like these FPV goggles always look so funky. Like, I should start wearing this out to like bars. I'll be like, hey, you come here often? And I'll just be like staring at a wall because I can't see anything. The footage of the drone going through tight spaces gave me anxiety. No, seriously, watching that monitor, I was just like, the whole time. And Robert just does it too. He doesn't just go, all right, I'm gonna do it. He just like goes, and then goes straight through a whole bunch of little tight spaces. Awesome. Didn't know ZZ Top flew drones. Wait, what's ZZ Top look like? Oh my goodness, that is him. That is him.
Thanks for watching Potato Jet. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, click on the affiliate links, buy merch, tell your friends to tell their friends, and then get a tattoo of Potato Jet's face.